Hey guys, it's Fan94 here. I hope you're all having an absolute wonderful day, and I hope your families are doing well. Today's video is a video of a submission from Devon. Devon is a logger, and he had an experience that he will never ever forget, and he wanted me to share it with you guys. So, sit back, relax, get a drink, and let's get started. So Devon had been in the logging business his whole life, and he still is to this day. And he told me that he was very young when he started getting interested in logging because his father is a logger as well. So he was used to the constant going to different areas to log. And, if he had to go one place and log and then the next day he would have to go to a completely different place, he knew exactly what he was doing. Particularly took on one job one time that he said that was probably the most challenging because of how they had to get up in the area, and a lot of the road hadn't been cleared off at all. And they was fighting through that as well as where they needed to place their equipment. And said it took a couple days to get the clearing out and get all the equipment placed where it needed to be. So they was finally ready to start getting into what they needed to do. The first time they got into logging this area, it was very early in the morning. They wanted to get a head start on it because his father that he worked for was his own, boss, but he would get out there and do it with all of them as well. So they was working like they usually do, and it got up to the point where it was around time for their first break to go, and they sat down and started having their morning snack or whatever they brought or their breakfast. And Devon said that as he sat down on a piece of timber that was laying there, he started hearing what was crunching, sounded like something crunching behind him. As he turned around and looked, he saw this, what he described as a giant ape running sideways to them. If they was sitting like this, it was running sideways through the wood line. Before he could even get turned around to get a full look at this thing, it had already retreated into the woods. So he ran over to a couple of the guys that he worked with, and he said, I just saw something run into these woods that didn't look like a bear or anything like that. He said he remembers one of them asking him if maybe it was a mountain lion that he saw, but he knew that it was way too big to be a mountain lion. So as he continued to tell his friends and workers that he saw, they heard what sounded like a god-awful, just primordial yell. It was just so loud. So they all kind of huddle back to the equipment and trucks and kind of get on top of it because they don't know what this is. A lot of them start to shake it off, well, maybe it was a bear or something like that, but a lot of them was like, that couldn't be a bear, and these were a lot of men that was avid hunters. So once they got everything back together, they went back to work. All of them still kind of freaked out about the situation. But Devon was working in his area when he started seeing something out of his peripheral to the right, and standing up against, kind of leaning against the tree and looking out, was this thing that he saw running prior to all of this happening. And he froze in place because this thing had locked eyes with him, and he was looking right at this, and he knew it wasn't a bear. The first thing that came to his mind was, I'm looking at a Bigfoot. And as he looked at this thing turned around and started retreating back into the woods. And he backed out with his always looking towards it, and he said this thing just continued to go up the tree line until it couldn't see it anymore. He went and told his guys that he worked with, he told them what they saw, and a lot of them said, they don't doubt what he saw because there was a lot of reportings in that area of people seeing things that looked like Bigfoot. And to this day, some of the guys that he worked with will still ask him about the experience that he had, and they wish up and down that they saw what he saw. I want to thank Devon so much for sharing his experience with me so I could share it with you guys. I know that he appreciates his experience getting out there because he has been a watcher of the channel ever since we got started. So once again, thank you, Devon, so much for sharing your experience with us. And guys, I hope you have an absolute wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this video. God bless every single one of you. I'm Fan94. Love you guys, and take care.